It's the most powerful show on television. High drama with intense energy. A show dedicated to a few brave souls who risk their lives for the sake of their craft. Its in-depth reporting goes to the core and unlocks the mysteries behind today's raciest sport. Motorsports. Catch it when you can.
The Speed Station welcomes you to the Texas World Speedway in College Station, Texas for live coverage of the Texas World Shootout. And here's the race analysis for today's event. The Texas World Shootout consists of 50 laps around this 2-mile behemoth in College Station, Texas. Only one stage break, that coming on lap number 36, setting up a 10-lap dash to the finish. The field will be composed of the 2021 stage winners from the NASCAR Cup Series. And because this is a non-points race, stage number 1 pays out $100,000 to the leader at the conclusion of lap number 36. But if you're the leader at the conclusion of the 10-lap shootout at the end of lap 50, and if you can take home the checkered flag in this Texas World Shootout second annual running, you get $500,000 for your race victory, $500,000 to the winner. Now, wild racing is expected over the course of today's event. We have 28 cars starting today's Texas World Shootout, most of them being pretty much the front runners of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series roster. And this racetrack is practically Michigan supercharged. This place was built at the same time as Michigan International Speedway by the same company, making this place practically a sister track, both of them being 2 miles in length and D-shaped ovals. However, this place has 22 degrees of banking in the corners and 15 degrees on the front straightaway. Only 2 degrees on the backstretch so that water can roll off of it. But this place has a tremendous amount of banking, also very fresh asphalt on it. So that means if we were running an unrestricted package, they'd be going close to 220 down into turn 1. So that means we are running a high downforce, low horsepower package, much like what you would see at Daytona and Talladega. So this place is essentially wider, steeper Michigan, but with racing consisting more of a tighter quarters Talladega race. And this is the final time the Generation 6 cars will hit the track in the NASCAR Cup Series, moving on to the next-gen car for the 2022 season. This being the final send-off of the Gen 6 race car. All these chassis, the ones obviously that are not scrapped by the race teams, they will be sold off to Xfinity, Camping World Truck Series, and ARCA Menard Series race teams next year for use in those 3 respective divisions. These cars will still be used, obviously, through the future, but no longer by the NASCAR Cup Series as we go to the next-gen platform, which is hoping to revolutionize the NASCAR Cup Series. And here are some of the keys to winning today's event. Stay out of trouble. Like I mentioned, this place is much like a tighter confines Talladega. So pack racing, drafting, slingshots, all of that stuff is critical. That also means that with close proximity racing with a lot of cars, 28 starters in today's event, most likely all 28 will be in the lead draft. That means any slight mistake can take out a good percentage of the starting grid. So staying out of trouble will be key to taking home the victory here in the Texas World Shootout. Also, because this is the final race of the Generation 6 car and no points are on the line whatsoever, we're already done with the 2021 season. We already know Suarez is your champion. There is absolutely nothing to lose in this race. If you wreck the car, that's just one that your team can't sell to a lower division race team or use themselves in a lower division. But then again, even the wrecked cars will have some sort of value, whether that be at Dale Jr.'s junkyard or in a museum. This is the final event for the Gen 6 cars. All 28 cars that are here will hold some piece of history in the NASCAR Cup Series as the end of an era. But you don't have to worry about bringing the car back in one piece, and you absolutely do not have to worry about points. The only goal here today for all 28 of these contenders is to take home the victory, and preferably $600,000 for both the stage win and the race win. And like I mentioned, we are already done with the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season, but real quick I wanted to recap some of the results of the top 10, at least, in the point standings following the championship race at Atlanta. Obviously, Daniel Suarez took home the championship by just barely 1 car length above his teammate Chase Briscoe, coming up just barely short of performing a spin and win. Chase Elliott, after crashing in the championship race, ended up taking home a third-place finish in the points standing, 16 points away from the championship. And Martin Truex Jr.'s team gave up the championship through poor pit strategy. His crew chief, James Small, essentially dropped the ball on the strategy, leaving Truex out for too long. They lost about 12 seconds on track, came down pit road later on in the final stage. Caution flag flew. They were trapped 2 laps down with no chance at the championship. Led to a bit of a falling out between Truex and his crew chief, James Small. And Truex came home 4th in points, 18 points out of the championship. In fact, the split between James Small and Martin Truex Jr. was so severe that Chris Gale is actually on the number 19 team's pit box for this weekend. James Small is being essentially relocated to another organization within Joe Gibbs Racing, quite possibly the 54 in the Xfinity Series. We're still waiting for an announcement there. He is remaining within the company, but will not be with the 19 team. Farther back through the top 10 in points, Brandon Jones was best of the rest, in fact tying his teammate Denny Hamlin. Jones had the advantage in the tiebreaker with 2 wins compared to Hamlin's 1. Kyle Busch took home a 7th place finish in points, meaning that all of the JGR cars finished from 4th to 7th in the point standings. Alex Bowman climbed his way all the way up to 8th in points following Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick actually taking one of his worst points finishes in the last 5 or so years with a 9th place finish in points. A lot of drivers would kill for one of Harvick's off years. And finally, Kyle Larson, after finishing runner-up in points in 2019 and 2020, got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs this year and climbed his way all the way up to 10th at the conclusion of the championship race at Atlanta. And you yourself can take a look back through the point standings. Obviously, Gralla with his win at Atlanta climbed his way all the way up to 11th in final point standings. And then you can see all the way back from 21st down to 40th, just the way the point standings fell. Overall, we had a very competitive season with the top 39 finishers in points having at least 1 lap led. And the starting lineup for the Texas World Shootout was determined by a random draw, and that randomization has placed Brandon Jones, the best of the rest finisher in points, who brought home 5th in points following Atlanta, on the pole spot for the 50-lapper here in College Station. Landon Castle, who is moving to the number 33 machine for next season, drew the outside pole position. Joe Logano in the 22 for Team Penske will start from 3rd. Chris Buescher, who almost won last week at Atlanta, rolls off in 4th position. Clint Boyer in his final start in the number 14 for Stewart-Haas Racing in the 5th position. Kaz Gralla, the most recent Cup Series winner from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, starts from the 6th spot. Kyle Busch, the 2-time champion, rolls off from the 7th position. J.J. Yaley, who won a stage back at the Bristol Motor Speedway dirt track, will start from the 8th spot. Christopher Bell in the 61 for Hattori Racing Enterprises will start from the 9th position, and Martin Truex Jr. with his new crew chief Chris Gale rolls off from the 10th position. And you can see all 28 starters of the Texas World Shootout on your screen right now. As you recall, the Championship 4 race was last time out at Atlanta. The drivers who were contending for the championship last week will roll off from, obviously, 10th with Martin Truex Jr., the 11th position for Chase Elliott, the 21st position for Chase Briscoe, and your 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Daniel Suarez, will start from 22nd. Notable starters in today's race also include drivers such as Greg Biffle, who won a stage in the Daytona 500. He drew the 15th position, and also Noah Gragson, who won a stage for Brendan Gaughan's race team at Talladega just a couple weeks ago, rolls off from the 24th position in the number 62 car. And so now let's get down trackside for the command.
Drivers, start your engine!
Go out there and have a good time today. Make it happen at the end, my friend. Big thumbs up here. You're ready to rock and roll. Good luck to you guys on pit road down there today.
And there you see the pace car ducking onto pit road. The number 20 of Brandon Jones leads the field onto the front straightaway here at the Texas World Speedway, anticipating the start. And there is the green flag for the Generation 6 car's last stand, the Texas World Shootout. The field already fanning out as we head down into turn number 1. Going up through the gears, hitting 3rd gear right about now as Clint Boyer goes 3 wide on the inside. Going for the 2nd spot, Keselowski farther back, going 4 wide to make up track position. The field now getting close to being up to full song. Here comes Kyle Busch down on the bottom, trying to go 4 wide for the lead. 2 rows of 4 wide. Landon Castle backs out down into turn number 3. In fact, gets up into the outside wall. Castle drops to the tail end of the field. We've got a 3 wide battle for the lead out in front. At the line, they're trying to go 5 wide as Clint Boyer will lead the lap. Boyer out in front, and look at this mess down into turn 1. The field heads off into the corner 5 abreast as Logano backs out. Keselowski out to the race lead. A tremendous start here at the Texas World Speedway. The 89 car appears to have lost the draft after getting up into that outside wall. Somewhat significant right side damage to the 89 machine. Here comes Ty Dillon to the bottom. Got a little bit loose on corner entry after getting put 3 wide by Greg Biffle. And now the 88 car of Keselowski is out to a pretty large lead above the rest of the field. You see that 88 car, the Miller Lite Chevrolet, now out to about half a second advantage above the 18 car of Kyle Busch. The 22 of Logano is also faded to the tail end of the field with the 89 of Castle. So now Castle has someone to draft with in his run back towards the front. Kyle Busch down to the inside of Brad Keselowski, going for the race lead down the back stretch. Keselowski got such an advantage, he ran down very quickly as Harvick going 5 wide to the bottom. Ty Dillon backs out, and by the way, Harvick started on the last row, and by lap number 4, he is up into the 3rd position. Kyle Busch out in front of this field. Brad Keselowski slingshots down to the inside. Christopher Bell now going underneath Harvick. They're trying to go 5 wide once again. Into turn number 1. Keselowski back in front of this field. Christopher Bell taking over the 2nd position now, attempting to do so as he goes side by side with Kyle Busch down the backstretch. Clint Boyer trying to go to the inside, and Quinn Half goes 4 wide at the bottom. Half backs out. Harvick goes up the racetrack and also backs out to try and avoid an accident. It's very dirty up on those higher lines through turns 3 and 4. This is rather fresh asphalt. It's not worn out to where you can use every single line of it. So once you get up towards the outside wall, you're up into the marbles. It's very hard to keep the pedal to the floor. Running all the way up towards that outside wall as Clint Boyer now goes to the inside of Brad Keselowski for the race lead off of turn 2. Harvick now back into last position. 89 car of Landon Castle starting to make his way back through this field as Clint Boyer goes out to the race lead here at the Texas World Speedway. Racing through turns 3 and 4, the 88 car tries to side draft him back, coming off of the 4th corner. Bowman going 4 wide on the bottom. No drafting help down there, though. Gonna have to get back in line behind the 42 of Justin Allgaier. Boyer and Keselowski battle side by side for this race lead. Keselowski's gonna have the drafting advantage on the outside. The 40 car goes up to lock bumpers with the 88 of Keselowski off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. As you can tell, the entire 28 starters running in this lead draft. The 40 and 88 cars work well down the back straightaway. 88 out in front, but he gets up into the marbles. The number 42 of Justin Allgaier down to the inside, working with the 24 of William Byron as the 14 gets shuffled back. And at the line, it is the 42 of Allgaier to lead the lap. Here we go, 4 wide into turn number 1. Ty Dillon trying to make it work all the way on the bottom into the 1st corner, backs out. Landon Castle from the back to the front. Once again, 89 car takes over the race lead, coming off of turn number 2. Chris Buescher's dropped down to the last position, but he'll likely be back up towards the front rather quickly. Already, tremendous amount of back and forth racing here in the Texas World Shootout. Inside line starting to charge. The 31 of Ty Dillon side drafts the 89 car back down the front stretch. J.J. Yaley's dropped to the last position. At the line, it is barely, I believe, the 31. Scoring gives it to Ty Dillon to lead that lap. Germain Racing Chevrolet out in front. He was a stage winner earlier this season at the Talladega Superspeedway for the spring race. Look at this move getting made by Harvick. Nearly 5 wide coming off of turn number 2. And down the back stretch, Byron to the inside of the 31 of Ty Dillon. Going side by side for the lead down into turn 3. Byron's going to get the advantage through the corner as the 89 car once again backs out. 11 of Denny Hamlin down on the bottom of the 12 of Ryan Blaney. 4 wide, nearly 5 wide down the front straightaway. 55 of Ross Chastain down on the bottom. And there's your champion, the 00 of Daniel Suarez, starting to make his name known up in the top 10 as Byron is out in front of this field. Once again, they're going 5 wide through turns 1 and 2. As you can tell, this place kind of widens out in the corners and funnels on the straightaways. It gives you racing options as the 37 of Eric Jones goes all the way down to the inside as they crash in turn number 3. Kyle Busch up against the outside wall, getting turned, I believe, with the 31 of Ty Dillon. Racing back to the caution flag, it is Eric Jones in the 37 taking over that race lead at the stripe. Eric Jones is your race leader. A tremendous amount of action at the beginning of this race after just 10 laps have been completed. Jones out in front above William Byron, 55 of Ross Chastain. The 62 of Noah Gragson made his way all the way up to 4th, and the 11 of Hamlin running in the 5th position. Oh, well, it's pretty simple how this crash started. You see down the back straightaway, the 31 of Ty Dillon goes down the racetrack to side draft. The 18 goes up just a little bit to widen out his corner entry. Those two hook coming down into turn number 3. There's the beginning of the safer barrier into the 3rd corner. And the 18 car gets put up hard into the outside wall. Backs into the wall as well. Slides off in front of our camera and down the banking. The 18 car of Kyle Busch with pretty significant damage here at the Texas World Speedway. The 31, not with too much damage, just a little bit of right side damage on the Andes Frozen Custard Chevrolet. It is actually a little bit more major than I would have initially thought. You have to do some work on that car under this caution flag period. And so Kyle Busch will get off pit road without losing a lap here in the Texas World Shootout. If they can get that car up to speed, if they can keep that thing in the draft, it might actually be somewhat competitive. We've seen damaged cars perform rather well in drafting races before, as long as they stay in line, because the cars up in front of them kind of cut the hole through the air for them, so their aerodynamic damage doesn't matter all that much. As long as Kyle Busch isn't very far off the pace on this restart, he might be just fine. Obviously, the only other car to hit the pit road was the 31 of Ty Dillon. Everybody else stayed out. And Ty Dillon is coming off of pit road. They got that right side repaired on the Germain Chevrolet. He's actually going to restart behind the 18 car of Kyle Busch, because Busch actually pitted under the green flag period before the field was frozen for the caution flag. So Busch actually kind of short pits the 31 of Dillon. The number 42 car of Justin Allgaier is actually having some engine trouble right now. We're hearing that he might be down at least a cylinder on the 42 machine. Would be a very tough break if that is correct, because that will knock certainly a lot of horsepower out of that car. Hopefully it's just a plug wire, but it doesn't look like they're going to come down pit road to try to address it, so it might just lead to a troublesome restart if they are in fact down on power. Then again, if they're not too far down on power, it might not be quite the end of their race because of the effects of the draft, like we've mentioned. If you can get up into that draft, it really doesn't matter if you're down a little bit of horsepower at least, but you don't want to be down a whole cylinder. And the pace car ducks onto pit road once again. Eric Jones in the number 37 for JTG Daugherty Racing. The North Wilkesboro race winner leads the field into the Geico restart zone on lap number 13. And there is the green flag once again. You can see the field already fanning out. You got the 53 of Chase Briscoe all the way down to the bottom. 42 car doesn't seem to be too far off the pace, even with his engine trouble. However, the 18 and 31 cars were off the pace. We got a 3-wide move for the lead. 3 wide in 2 rows. Chastain to the bottom, going for the top spot. Harvick going 3 wide as well, as there's contact between the 55 and the 24 down the back straightaways. They were coming off turn 2. It got a little bit too close, as those two made door-to-door contact. Hopefully no fender rubs. The 20 of Brandon Jones is off the pace. He's coming to pit road. The Ansel Menards Toyota Camry hits the pits, as well as the 31 of Ty Dillon. Down the front straightaway, Ross Chastain's been pushed out to the lead. Here comes a 5-wide move by the 61 of Christopher Bell. Hamlin up into the outside wall. Ross Chastain leads this field here at the Texas World Speedway. The 12 of Ryan Blaney takes over the second spot. Number 20 team reports that they have had a fuel leak on that machine, so essentially he is losing fuel out of the Menards Toyota Camry, and the 31 of Ty Dillon came down because they did not get that right side clearance, right front tire rub on the 31. Look at J.J. Yaley in the 52 down on the bottom. Going 3 wide down the front straightaway. Christopher Bell trying to take over second. In fact, he will take over that position. 55 of Chastain still out in front. Now Bell goes down to the bottom with help from the runner-up in points of Briscoe. And Christopher Bell is out in front in the Texas World Shootout. And look at this move down the back straightaway by Brad Keselowski. Sends it in 3 wide on the bottom. And the 53 of Briscoe gets the advantage through the middle. Briscoe back into the race lead. Here comes lap traffic, the 31 of Ty Dillon after coming down pit road, getting that flat tire addressed. He's right up in front of these leaders as the pack begins to swarm the number 31 in the next lap or so. 5 wide by the 42 of Allgaier down on the bottom. I don't think that engine trouble was very major whatsoever as he's cracked the top 5 down the back straightaway. 53 out in front. 31 of Dillon right up in front of these leaders. You got to figure out a way quickly around. As there's the 31. Briscoe moves down to the inside to put the 31 car down a lap. Easily does so. 42 of Allgaier up into the second position. He has a run on the 53, going to look up to the outside, down into turn 1. Now cuts back in line. Hang up to the right side now as the 37 of Jones goes down to the bottom. Eric Jones back into second position. J.J. Yaley in the third. We are halfway through stage number 1 here at the Texas World Speedway. Yaley down to the bottom. Trying to go 3 wide for the lead into turn number 3. Wasn't quite there yet. 37 of Eric Jones takes over the race lead through turns 3 and 4. As we got a side-by-side battle for second down the front straightaway. That is between J.J. Yaley and the 53 of Briscoe. Outside line carrying the most momentum at the moment. Eric Jones going to lead the field off into turn number 1. That's down on the inside. We got the 61 and 62 cars of Bell and Gregson making up a lot of time working together. Here comes the 53 back down to the bottom. Going for the race lead with some help coming from J.J. Yaley down the backstretch. And Castle trying to make it work through the middle. The 37 gets pushed up into the marbles. And Chase Briscoe is back out in front of this field. Christopher Bell takes over second. Castle residing in the third spot. Here comes Bell down to the bottom. Side by side trying to side draft that 53 car back into turn 1. Gregson with a huge bit of momentum goes 3 wide for the lead through turns 1 and 2. 62 machine is out in front of this field in the Texas World Shootout. Gregson leads the field. He's got some help coming from Brad Keselowski. You recall those two worked together tremendously well at Talladega a couple weeks ago as Suarez, your 2021 champion, just went 4 wide all the way up to third. And folks, the 20 of Brandon Jones is still on pit road. They're trying to address that fuel leak issue, and the 18 of Kyle Busch has retired from the race. Down to turn number 1, the 88 and 62 cars picking up right where they left off at the Talladega Superspeedway, gapping this field in nearly a tandem. Down the backstretch, the 88 car looks down to the inside of the 61 of Gregson. And after trying to make the move stick through 3 and 4, the 62 car has nearly 0 drafting help up on the outside lines. The 12 car was a little bit too far back. Keselowski out in front. The 00 of Suarez now goes down to the inside. The field fanning out down the front straightaway. Boyer all the way down to the bottom. Trying to almost go 4 wide into 1. The 2021 champion goes out to the race lead here at the Texas World Speedway with a push coming from his teammate, Ross Chastain. 55 and 00 cars working together very well out in front of this field at the moment. Here comes the 55, though, down to the inside. Taking a look beneath the 00 of Daniel Suarez, trying to go 3 wide for the lead as the 88 car gets forced up to the high side. Keselowski pushed out of this draft as here comes Clint Boyer, 3 wide on the bottom. And now Jones trying to go 4 wide for the lead. At the line, that lap was led by the 55 of Chastain. Down to turn 1, Eric Jones goes 4 wide out to the race lead here at the Texas World Speedway with the 14 fighting back through the middle. Boyer gets some drafting help from the 50 of Kaz Gralla. The 22 of Logano has dropped back to the tail end of this draft, and the 50 and 14 cars push each other out in front. Once again, though, they're going 4 wide as Gralla goes to the bottom. 55 car backs out. Eric Jones still trying to make it work on the very inside. And Gralla takes over the race through the middle line here at the Texas World Speedway. At the stripe, Gralla is your leader. Here comes the 11 of Hamlin down to the bottom, as well as a great run from the 40 of Ralph. Into the first corner. Hamlin goes out to the race lead with a slingshot move on the 50 of Gralla. The 40 of Quinn Half up in the second position now, at least attempting to take that spot away from the 50. Now going 3 wide for the lead into turn 3. Half getting the push from the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Greg Biffle going 4 wide on the bottom. He backs out. down into turn number 3. Quinn Half out in front of this field by a pretty decent margin. There was nearly contact between the 12 and 21 cars of Cindric and Ryan Blaney. It's even work. It has to be done by Quinn Half to defend these lines as the 24 of Byron gets the run into 3. Almost makes contact with Quinn Half as Greg Biffle goes 4 wide to the inside. The 21 and 24 cars of Cindric and Byron push each other out to the front of this field. Byron is your race leader. He won at this racetrack's sister track up in Michigan in the points race in the playoffs. But down to turn number 1, Cindric going to try and take over that race lead into the first corner. The 21 for the Wood Brothers is out in front. Here comes Allgaier going 4 wide to the bottom. Justin Allgaier gets that settled back down to about 3 wide. Now actually clears that hornet's nest as the 21 is out in front. 69 of Biffle trying to take over second for the Gaunt brothers. We're approaching just 10 laps to go in stage number 1. Remember, there's a $100,000 award for the winner of this stage. Down the front straightaway, the 40 and 24 cars working together. As look at this, they're trying to almost go 4 wide into turn 1 for second position. Yes, they do. The 12 of Ryan Blaney goes for a 4 wide move for second. Now they're trying to almost go 5 wide. Coming off of the second corner, the 21 of Cindric still holding on to this race lead as he defends the lines out in front. Biffle battling for that second spot up on the outside as Blaney goes to the bottom trying to take that spot away as well. This field racing extremely aggressively at the moment with a combination of pack racing and slingshots out in front of this field. We got the 69 of Biffle trying to set up a big run on the 21 down to turn 1. Gets right up to the back bumper. Takes a look now down to the inside. If he can make this move stick, he'll at least be door to door coming down the back straightaway. He now inches ahead in that 69 machine. Biffle and Cindric battle for the lead. It is Allgaier pushing the 69 car out in front, trying to make the look down to the inside. He gets there. 42 car tries to side draft the 69 of Biffle back just a little bit. Coming off of the 4th corner. Allgaier's got the push coming from the 4 of Kevin Harvick down the front stretch. Here goes Allgaier down to the inside. Biffle led at the line. Harvick trying to go up through the middle. And the 42 takes the low line to the race lead here at the Texas World Speedway. Here comes the 89 back up into the mix. Trying to go 3 wide now for second underneath Harvick. A bit of a surprise move on that number 4 car. Allgaier now up to the outside line to block. Here comes the number 4 of Harvick to the inside. 89 of Castle, 3 wide, and 19 of Truex try to make it 4 wide for the lead. Harvick gets the advantage off of the 4th corner. They're still going 4 wide for the second spot. Allgaier gets forced up to the high side. Harvick is the leader. Farther back, you see the lap car of Ty Dillon almost losing this draft. The 61 of Bell trying to take over second. Blaney, though, battling to the inside of the 61 car, trying to take that spot away. Now down the back straightaway, the 12 and 61 cars battle side by side for that spot. It looks like the 12 car's clear, and he gets the run on the 4 of Harvick. Entering turn number 3, the 4 car gets forced up into the marbles. The 12 of Blaney with a perfectly timed slingshot move takes over this race lead. Here at the Texas World Speedway, 12 car out in front of this field above the 61, and now the 24 assuming 3rd spot. 89 of Landon Castle sets in 4th position, battling side by side with Harvick for the spot, and now here comes the 42 to the inside, but the 61 and 24 cars work together out in front. Bell back into this race lead, and all 3 manufacturers currently holding the top 3 positions. Toyota leading above Ford and Chevrolet. Now here comes the Chevrolet to the bottom. Byron trying to take over that race lead. Side by side, almost like the restart, as here they come off of turn number 4. The 24 is clear the 61, but we got a 3 wide move getting made by the 42 and 4 wide by the 19. 4 cars abreast, possibly 5, going for the race lead down to turn number 1. Who's going to give? It's the 24 of Byron backing off. 42 of Allgaier somehow got the lead through the madness right there. And now down the back straightaway, they're still battling side by side as we've almost got trouble. Down the back straightaway, the 62 of Noah Gragson almost lost it as they're still going 4 wide. Quinn Half takes over the race lead, coming off of turn number 4 as the outside line dissipates by getting checked up followed by the 42 of Justin Allgaier. Half is your leader at the stripe. Hamlin trying to take over second. And here's a replay of the contact coming off of turn number 2. This is a remarkable piece of driving in excess of 185 miles an hour. 4 wide in a very, very close area right there. Logano, Buscher, Briscoe, and Gragson all trying to make it work. 17 gets clipped by the 53. Down into the 62. They go sideways off of turn 2, but they keep it together. A phenomenal battle here at the Texas World Speedway for the stage number 1 victory. Down on the inside, we got the 48 of Bowman and 14 of Boyer marching forward. Here comes the 14 down to the bottom of the 48 car. 19 of Truex got shuffled out through turns 1 and 2. Here comes Larson to the bottom. At least tried to pop out for a moment as the 40 car Quinn Half almost doesn't know which line to block. There's so many lanes with so many runs. You could potentially at any time have 5 different lanes you have to block at this racetrack, making it really difficult to hold on to this lead. Down to turn number 1, the 14 of Boyer looks up to the outside of the 40 of Quinn Half, trying to get that run with a bit of help coming from the 57 of Larson. Look at this move by the 55 of Chastain and the 52 of Yaley on the bottom. They passed about 10 or so cars through turns 1 and 2. And now down on the inside, 57 of Larson gets to the bottom of Clint Boyer. Those two run side by side through turns 3 and 4. As the 57 of Larson takes over the second spot, here comes Chastain to the bottom. 3 wide for the lead once again. 14 and 21 cars, side draft down the front stretch. 57 of Larson has the most drafting help through the middle. Through turns 1 and 2, Yaley makes contact with the 21 of Cindric. They keep it together. A lot of saves going on here at the Texas World Speedway down the back stretch. The 55 of Chastain and 57 of Larson battle side by side for the lead. Here comes the 37, Eric Jones to the bottom, and the 9 of Elliott, trying to go 4 wide. As now we see the white flag in stage number 1 here at the Texas World Speedway. $100,000 on the line at the conclusion of these 2 miles, and the 55 of Chastain has about half a second advantage. But that's bad news for him as this field, this whole pack is going to have a huge run on him coming down into turn 3. 57 of Larson backs out. 4 of Harvick down on the inside, going for second. Here comes the run down the back straightaway. 55 car up on the outside to try and block the 52 of J.J. Yaley. Cuts down to the bottom through turns 3 and 4. Harvick now side by side with Yaley. Those two side drafting each other back is perfect for Ross Chastain, who comes to the line almost 3 wide with Yaley and Harvick, but Ross Chastain will win stage number 1. In a 3 wide battle coming back to the green and white checkered flag, Ross Chastain is your stage 1 winner, $100,000 richer here in the Texas World Shootout. And folks, if you thought that was intense, now we've got a 10-lap shootout for $500,000 to the winner of the end of that 10-lap segment. It's already been remarkable, the racing here at the Texas World Speedway. And now we're going to multiply the money on the line by 5. You're going to see some things you've probably never seen before in a Cup Series race over the course of these next 10 laps. And so Ross Chastain had pretty much managed to get the perfect amount of gap above the field to be able to maintain that just barely coming back to the green and white checkered flag. But look at this, the 52 of Yaley and the 4 of Harvick fan out coming down to the stripe. And right there is the start-finish line for Chastain. Not quite side by side at the line, but quite a battle coming back to that green and white checkered flag. Ross Chastain takes the Stage 1 victory, $100,000 richer. And by the way, the 20 car of Brandon Jones is still on pit road. The team at JGR trying to address the fuel leak issue. They will most likely not return to the racetrack. However, they will sit on pit road to try and get this problem addressed, even knowing that this is, in fact, the final race of the Gen 6 car. Not really that important for them to diagnose it, but still, this car could potentially go into Xfinity competition or something like that next season. It's important for the team to figure out what went wrong. And considering this a non-points race and he's already 22 laps down, there'd be absolutely no sense in sending him back out on the racetrack. It's not like they're running for points. And so nobody has decided to come down pit road as of yet. So your top 5 for the restart, this 10-lap shootout for the $500,000 at the Texas World Speedway. Your top 5 is Chastain above Harvick, J.J. Yaley, Eric Jones, and Christopher Bell. Although I can guarantee you that the 26 cars that are still in contention for this, they're going to be going back and forth throughout the entirety of these 10 laps, because we saw in the beginning of the race, Harvick go from the last row all the way up to the top 3 in just 3 laps. So you can make a lot happen in a very short amount of time at this racetrack. All right, so the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to go green with just 10 laps to go for the $500,000 to the winner. And like I said, in these next 10 laps, you're probably going to see some racing like you've never seen before. Absolutely nothing to lose for any of these drivers except for the chance at that big purse, because these race cars will most likely never be raced again, and we are not racing for points. So even knowing this is after the season and after the champion has already been determined, we might be seeing some of the best action of the year in these next 10 laps. Once again, the pace car hits pit road. Ross Chastain leads this field onto the front straightaway and into the Geico restart zone, awaiting the restart. And there's the green flag. The Gen 6 car's last hurrah is underway here in the Texas World Shootout. The field already fanning out down the front straightaway. You can see Clint Boyer last in line right there as we got a 3-wide move for second. Eric Jones down to the inside of J.J. Yaley and Kevin Harvick. Quinn Half going to try and get down there as well and help the 37 of Jones off of the second corner. Getting the run built on the 55 of Chastain down the backstretch. Hamlin pops out, so does the 40 of Half down on the bottom. 55 is clear down into turn 3, 2 rows of 3 wide behind him. The middle line prevails, coming through turns 3 and 4. The 37 of Eric Jones up into second. Down the front straightaway, it is the 37 of Jones holding on to second spot. 4-wide battle going on. Farther back, you got the 9 of Chase Elliott down on the bottom. Side by side for the lead. Once again, the 37 of Jones takes that spot off the 55 of Chastain. Eric Jones back out in front of this pack. Here at the Texas World Speedway, it's getting really dicey in the center of the pack, running close to 4 and 5 wide at all times. Here comes Chastain. Back down to the inside of 37. Loses the nose just a little bit through turns 3 and 4. We had a car go wide. That was Kevin Harvick. The number 4 car off the 4th corner. Now Chase Elliott side drafting the 55 of Ross Chastain down the front stretch. Elliott takes over second. Farther back, Chris Buescher in the 17 car, almost wrecked earlier on in this race, trying to make his way up into the top 5. Elliott slingshots down to the inside of 37 of Eric Jones. Down the backstretch, the 9 car trying to take over that top spot. He's got the 55 of Chastain and pseudo teammate Castle going with him. But down on the inside goes Castle, abandoning the number 9 car and pushing him into the middle. Now the 40 of Half goes to the middle line to help the number 9 of Elliott, and the 37 is without drafting help up on the outside. At the line, 4 wide once again for the lead. It was Elliott to lead the lap. Here comes Landon Castle down to the bottom. Landon Castle with an incredibly gutsy 4-wide move is going to take over the race lead coming off of turn number 2, crowding the 55 of Ross Chastain up the racetrack. Which line do you choose? Down the back straightaway, the 55 of Chastain went down just a little bit to side draft the 89 car, backs off on the entry to turn 3, and Castle is out in front of this field by a couple car lengths. The 12 of Ryan Blaney now holds on to second spot. The 2021 champion, Daniel Suarez, down on the inside, trying to side draft the 40 of Quinn Half back, and a big run by the 12 car down on the inside. Ryan Blaney is going to take over the race lead, coming off of the second corner, a 4-wide move, getting made by the 21 right there, all the way up in the 3rd. Down the backstretch, big crash coming off of the corner. Ty Dillon, Kevin Harvick, Ross Chastain, and a couple others involved as Quinn Half is out in front of this field. 4-wide move by Brad Keselowski down on the inside. The field races back to the caution flag. It is Quinn Half holding the race lead back to the yellow flag. Half is in front of this field. 88 of Keselowski took over the second spot. 21 of Cindric in 3rd. 00 of Suarez in 4th, and the 12 of Ryan Blaney in 5th position. Remember, we will go to an overtime finish if needed. We have a disagreement under this caution flag period with slight door slams between the 89 of Landon Castle and the 61 of Christopher Bell right there. Looks like they've got that disagreement figured out for the moment. And here, let's try to decipher just what all went down right there, because that was a bit of a chain reaction style crash. You see the 48 car Bowman, fire came out the exhaust right there. That means he's coming off the throttle. Excess fuel getting burned off in the exhaust. But coming off of turn number 4, you can see the 62 of Noah Gragson getting pushed up actually by the 37 of Eric Jones. That forces Gragson into clipping the 48 of Bowman. 48 car then clips the 4 of Harvick, which is what then forces the 4 car up into the 55 of Chastain and around. Then farther back, you can see the 53 of Briscoe. Actually, that's the 17 of Buescher clipping the 31, the lap car of Ty Dillon around. 53 Briscoe gets some damage out of it. Logano does a great job missing this crash. And as you can see, a little bit more contact right there between the 31 and 17. Not very major damage on a lot of these cars. 48 car just went for a lazy Susan slide down the back straightaway. However, there is some good amounts of damage on the 55, the 4, and the lap-down car of Ty Dillon. Once again, with right-side damage. And now this is typical of Chastain's 2021 season. Has a great run going, takes home the stage run victory for $100,000, but ends up getting up into an accident, not of his own doing, up into the outside wall and impacting the number 4 of Kevin Harvick. About a 5-car accident down the back straightaway might just be setting us up for an overtime finish. And here's the onboard from the number 55 of Ross Chastain. You can see, almost has no idea the crash is coming, but right there, the 4 of Harvick just tops across his nose and getting clipped by the 48 of Alex Bowman. Almost nothing Chastain can do right there. And a 5-car crash down the back straightaway brings us under the caution flag with Quinn Houff out in front of this field. And surprisingly, absolutely no one is coming down pit road during this cycle or potential cycle of stops. You'd expect the cars that got damaged down that back straightaway to at least come down and maybe get some fender clearances, but looks like they're just going to try and chance it on the most likely 2-lap-to-go restart. And I'm telling you, we are really ending this Generation 6 car with quite the bang here today at Texas World Speedway. A phenomenal battle so far through the first 47 laps. Most likely a green-white checker restart. I couldn't imagine quite a better send-off for this race car. Still $500,000 on the line for the winner. And by the way, don't forget about Clint Boyer. He currently sits in the 12th position. With some smart moves on the next restart, he might just win in his last start in the 14 machine with his own name on the hood. And yes, folks, it's looking like we are going to go into an overtime finish here at the Texas World Speedway for the Texas World Shootout. It's already been quite an eventful day. Why not cap it off with just a green-white checkered finish? Bunch everybody up one last time. You know, they have still not gotten the number 20 machine refired. Maybe they did not intend on refiring this car, just kind of diagnosing the problem. But they're still setting on pit road, have not gone back to the garage, still trying to address that fuel leak issue. Lights are off on the pace car this time by. The race distance has been extended 1 lap beyond the advertised distance of 50, now out to 51. And so Quinn Houff is going to lead the field to the green flag with just 2 laps to go in the Texas World Shootout. And the wild thing is that we still have probably 20 cars in play and only 2 laps to get it done. So you can just imagine how wild this restart's going to go with so many possibilities for all these drivers getting up to the front and claiming that $500,000 prize. All right, folks, it's time to strap yourselves down in the chair and make sure you give them belts a good tug. As now the pace car ducks onto pit road. Quinn Houff leads the field onto the front straightaway for just a 2-lap dash to the finish, leading the field into the Geico restart zone. And there's the green flag for Quinn Houff. Look at the field already fanning out. Truex drops down to the bottom. Keselowski looks up to the outside. Down to turn number 1. Here comes the 21 of Cindric. To the bottom of Keselowski going for second. And Ryan Blaney now trying to take over the 3rd spot if he can make his way around Keselowski. Penske and Penske affiliate Horsepower working down to the inside. Ryan Blaney trying to push. Cindric now drops down to the bottom. And Cindric cuts him off. Very shallow corner entry for the 21 car as Austin Cindric takes over the race lead. Look at the 2021 champion of Suarez back in a good position as now the 12 of Blaney jumps down to the inside. White flag is in the air here at the Texas World Speedway. 21 of Cindric led at the line, but I don't think he's going to lead at the checkers. Here comes Hamlin down to the very bottom going 3 wide. Denny Hamlin in the number 11 machine takes the race lead for the moment, but the 89 goes down to the very bottom. Landon Castle goes side by side with Denny Hamlin down the back straightaway. Boyer trying to go 4 wide for the lead. Here they come into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Boyer all the way down to the bottom. Landon Castle is clear. Castle in the 89 car for Shepherd Racing Ventures has cleared the 2019 Series champion, and Landon Castle is going to win the Texas World Shootout at the Texas World Speedway. Landon Castle, who's finished 3rd in the Coke 600 and at Michigan in the playoffs, puts the 89 car into victory lane here at the Texas World Speedway in College Station. Outlasting Clint Boyer, his final start, the 14 machine for Stuart Haas. Eric Jones in 3rd, Noah Gragson in 4th, and Denny Hamlin in the 5th position. A remarkable overtime restart. An actually fantastic overall race here at the Texas World Speedway. Fantastic send-off of this Generation 6 car. And a great look into the future of who might just be competitive with the next-gen car as Landon Castle moves on to a powerhouse team next year, driving the 33 machine. And already coming off 2 third-place finishes in the points races this year and a win here in the shootout. He's poised for a breakout 2022 season. And how about this? Clint Boyer has ran out of fuel. After the checkered flag has fallen, the 1 lap of overtime actually pushed them a little bit beyond their fuel number. 14 car is out of gas. And so it's important to note that when the field took the green flag for the final time for the overtime restart, Landon Castle restarted all the way down in the 8th position. And here was the money move down to turn number 1. Cindric and Blaney battling side by side for the top spot. Hamlin then tries to go down to the bottom. You got all the leaders kind of stalling out their momentum, and you have the 14 of Boyer committed to helping the 89 of Landon Castle. So then Hamlin slides up the racetrack, loses the front end just a little bit. Actually might have got sucked around just a little bit by the 12 car. And now the 89 is going side by side with the 11, 12, and now the 14 of Boyer as he pops down to the bottom. So the field's going 5 wide, 4 wide. Almost no one's getting drafting help because they're all fanning out, going for that top spot. 89 car gets that advantage, though, down to turn 3. 14 of Boyer taking just a little bit too shallow of a corner entry, tried to work his way to the bottom, had to back off the throttle just a little bit. And in fact, actually, the car could have been sputtering because he was so close on fuel. But the 89 car gets the advantage coming off of turn number 4. Boyer slides up the racetrack just a little bit there to block the outside, hoping to get a run from the 11. Couldn't quite do anything with it, as the 89 car of Landon Castle leads the field back to the checkered flag and puts the 89 car of Shepherd Racing Ventures into a NASCAR Cup Series victory lane. And this kind of went unnoticed on the live broadcast, but coming to the white flag, the 48 and 17 cars of Bowman and Buescher both hit pit road. Quite possibly could have been for fuel issues. You know, even knowing it's not very voluntary because the number 14 machine of Clint Boyer ran out of gas, but he is the only car on the racetrack right now, slowly coasting his way back, kind of saluting the fans, I guess you could say, as they get one last shot of Boyer in the number 14 machine that earned him a NASCAR Cup Series championship, slowly trying to work that car back to pit road. And it truly is all eyes on the 14 car now as Boyer celebrates his storied NASCAR Cup Series career, coasting down the pit road in the 14 machine one last time. And look at Boyer working the car back and forth, trying to get to the pit stall. Makes the turn in, and he's safe. Clint Boyer makes it back to the pit stall. And here's the finishing results of the 50-lapper here at the Texas World Speedway. They actually got extended out to 51 laps through overtime. Landon Castle puts the Shepherd Racing Ventures, number 89 Cheerwine Chevrolet, in victory lane. And I have to say, this Texas World Shootout has produced some upset winners. Last season, the inaugural running of this race, we saw Tyler Ankrum take the victory for GMS Racing, and now the second time this race has ever been contested, Landon Castle puts the 89 machine into victory lane. The two drivers who have won the Texas World Shootout do not have Cup Series points-paying victories to their credit. Clint Boyer, with one last hurrah in the number 14 for Stuart Haas Racing, comes up just about a car length short, as his car might have been sputtering for the last quarter or so of the final lap. Eric Jones, after having a breakout 2021 season, brings the 37 home for JTG Daugherty Racing in the third position. Noah Gragson, with a great run for Brendan Gaughan, the 62 car, places in the fourth spot. Denny Hamlin takes that number 11 machine, almost actually won the race, but ended up finishing in the 5th position. The 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Daniel Suarez, finishes off the year in the 6th position. Kaz Gralla, the winner last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, brings that 50 car home in the 7th spot. William Byron, in his final appearance in the 24 car, before moving on to Haas next year, finishes in the 8th spot. Brad Keselowski took home a 9th place finish in the 88 car for Hendrick Motorsports, and Chase Elliott in the Hooters Chevrolet rounds out the top 10. Looking farther back through the field, we have Blaney taking home an 11th place finish, Larson in 12th, Christopher Bell 13th, J.J. Yeley with a good 14th place finish, Austin Cindric 15th, Chase Briscoe, the runner-up in points, Quinn Half, who was leading with 2 laps to go, fell all the way down to 17th. That's just how quickly things change at this racetrack. Greg Biffle brought home the 69 car in 18th position. Justin Allgaier, who may or may not have been fighting engine trouble, brought it home in the 19th position. Joey Logano, who still has not won a Cup Series race since March of 2020, finishes in the 20th position. He was the regular season champion, though, of the 2021 season. Martin Truex Jr., in his first showing with Chris Gale as his crew chief, brings home a 21st place finish. Here in the Texas World Shootout, Ross Chastain, your Stage 1 winner, brought it home in 22nd position. At least he has the $100,000 for the stage win. And Kevin Harvick brought it home in the 23rd spot, being the lowest car in the finishing order that was somewhat a part of the lead draft. Alex Bowman in the 48 car brings it home in 24th, as well as Chris Buescher in 25th position, as those two had to pit on the final lap of the race. Ty Dillon finishes 1 lap down in the 26th position. Kyle Busch was the only car to definitively retire from the race after that crash in turn number 3 with Ty Dillon. And your pole sitter ends up finishing dead last, Brandon Jones, with that fuel leak trouble, where they never actually brought the car behind the garage, but they worked on it all throughout the course of the race on pit road. And so, folks, there's no point standing segment to go over, obviously, because the 2021 championship has already happened. Daniel Suarez is your champion of this season. Obviously, Briscoe second, Elliott third, Truex in fourth in the final point standings. This being a non-points race, we're done with coverage from the Texas World Speedway. We hope that you have enjoyed it, this being our final NASCAR Cup Series broadcast of the 2021 season. But remember, we are not quite done with 2021 calendar season coverage as of yet. There is still one bit of business left at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as the Camping World Truck Series take on their inaugural Pennzoil All-Star Race at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Bit of winter heat action among all the drivers who have won races, stages, and poles this year in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Matt Crafton, fresh off of his 4th and record-tying Camping World Truck Series championship, trying to head out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway to kind of continue his string of success and become the inaugural winner of the All-Star Race in the Camping World Trucks. Once again, we hope that you've enjoyed our telecast from the Texas World Speedway, the final race of the Generation 6 car. Landon Cassill, a deserving winner after years and years of trying to find victory lane in the NASCAR Cup Series. He won earlier this season at Nashville in the Camping World Truck Series, his first NASCAR National Series victory. Now, at least in a non-points race, takes home a Cup Series victory in the 89 for Shepherd Racing Ventures. And so now we congratulate the 89 team of Landon Cassill and company on the victory here in the Texas World Shootout.